But he's been working, and still does work, at Bond University in the English Language Institute. And I'll get him to tell you the rest of the story. Mr. Trevor Rickard.
Fell unconscious on the doorstep of my parents' home in Sussex. And my mother rushed me to hospital at Haywards Heath, and I was then told that I was diabetic, and I thought that was the end of my life. Needles, insulin, all that sort of stuff. I really felt very depressed. I was halfway through a degree in electrical engineering at Salford University in England, and I thought that was it. Back to Manchester, finished my degree, and my company, Ferranti Limited, put me in for the Synchronous of the Year competition in England. And out of 932 entrants, I was the lucky person who won. And that brought me to Australia. And my life has changed immeasurably since then, because I met my dear wife at that time, and she was planning to come to England. I was here for 9 months, so I had to go back to England, of course, to my work. Joan was promising to come to England on a trip, which she did, and 3 months later she landed, and we decided to get married. And she stayed a minimum 2-week period, and we got married, and she came back to Australia, and I applied for the old £10 migrant scheme and came to Australia a few months later. They weren't going to let me in because I was diabetic. The English authorities said, no, you're going to be a burden on the medical system in Australia, and they would let me go. Joan is remarkable. She was pregnant with my son. She wandered into the immigration department down in Sydney, bawled her eyes out and said, I want my husband, and I was here a week later. I really do owe my life to her. She has been a constant source of support to me through all of my many career changes. I've had a remarkable life in Australia, and I'm still having a remarkable life. I've seen all the changes from the old taking insulin needles and stainless steel needles and methylated spirit tins and all that sort of stuff. I was on porcine insulin, which has now become natural insulin. And I've been through all the different stages of the care of diabetes, and I've always had the philosophy, it's up to me to take care of myself.
You know, Kellion has taught me a lot. I've learned a lot about what it was like in the good old days when type 1 diabetes was tackled very differently. We're talking about days where there was Bunsen burners on the kitchen bench. We're talking about days where the needles looked like crowbars. We're talking about days where people didn't understand quite as much as they do today when it comes to diabetes, and the investment that so many of our supporters have put towards Diabetes Queensland is seeing the results in the research to ensure that the next generations that may live with diabetes will do it a lot easier than the previous ones.